Alright, let's have another ancient coin unboxing. However, this is not going to be just another quick video of what's been joining my collection, because you know what? These pieces we have here present us with a great opportunity to discuss a couple of unique things about ancient coins. One has to do with the cleaning of ancients, because every single ancient coin has been cleaned to a greater or lesser extent. That's a major difference between this niche of numismatics and modern coin collecting, where cleaning your coins is a gigantic no-no. And somewhat related to the cleaning of coins, these particular pieces give us a nice opportunity to talk about the surfaces of Roman silver coins. The Romans did some pretty interesting metallurgy tricks with their silver to make it look better, to make their coins look like they contained more silver in their alloy than they actually had. This was one of their main ways of masking the debasement of the currency emperors often engaged in, particularly during the 3rd century AD. And this practice left some interesting marks on the coins, so I thought this was a nice opportunity to give you some in-depth examples. Alright, let's get started. And we kick things off with the topic of cleaning coins. Let's have a look at this gorgeous Antoninianus struck for Emperor Philip the Arab, who reigned between 244 and 249 AD. His coins are actually quite common. He's one of the most affordable, high-quality silver coins you can get currently on the ancients market. That is, if you get one of his common issues. What we have here is a rather interesting piece that celebrates the 1000th anniversary of the founding of the city of Rome, which Philip presided over with a large series of games, and a commemorative series of coins featuring different gods. In this case, it celebrates the goddess Diana, which is represented with her symbolic animal, a deer. Coins from this special issue tend to be more expensive if compared to his ordinary issues. I would say maybe they're roughly twice as expensive compared to a normal coin in a similar grade. However, it's not like his coins are super rare or anything to begin with, so it's still a fairly accessible commemorative series to collect. Now, this coin might look like very fine quality silver. I mean, just look how sharp the details are, how it shines. And if you did a scan of the metal on the surface, you would get some very high percentages, probably like in the 90+ percentile. But in reality, this coin has just 45% silver in its composition. The workers at the mint used a technique called depletion silvering before striking the coin. The process was surprisingly simple. They heated up the unstruck flan and then dipped it in some type of acid. Vinegar is probably the most likely candidate. It was cheap and easily available. And what the acid did was to chemically react with the copper mixed in with the silver at the surface level only, of course. The vinegar couldn't reach inside the coin. And it would leach the surface copper out, leaving the silver on the surface, because silver is much less reactive than copper. Now, this left this very high purity layer of silver on the surface. And as the coin was once again reheated and struck, this corroded, spongy surface of silver layer was flattened, making it look like the coin was actually made out of pure silver, even if this high purity surface was just microns thick. But that's what mattered, that's what people saw. They saw a nice silvery coin. This piece is a wonderful example of a coin in just a great state of conservation. The coin barely has any wear. If you look at the outlines around the bust of Philip, you can even see this gentle shine. It's like if it glows, it radiates away from the portrait. That shine is like a bit brighter if compared to the rest of the surfaces, and this is actually mint luster from when the coin was made nearly 2,000 years ago. It's kind of crazy to think this is still present on these coins, and it clearly indicates just how little this coin circulated. This is also a sign of a coin that was very well cleaned. It might be a mint state coin, but they definitely didn't reach our days looking like that, like perfect. They had to receive some kind of restoration work. It's better if I illustrate my point. Here, this is a coin I've had for a little while now. It's not part of the unboxing, but it illustrates well what a similar coin fresh out of the ground looks like. Depending on the burial conditions, coins can look radically different. Many have just rotted away and there's nothing left. Some were badly damaged. I've seen some estimates that just 0.5% of all ancient coins have survived to our days, and those that did, without exception, would have developed some sort of surface layer on it. This is a nice example because we can clearly see it has developed a patina and it has quite a lot of soil, like soil deposits on its surface. So these are like the two main types of incrustations you might find at an unclean coin. There's even a little bit of silver poking out, but as you can see, it's mostly covered on deposits. So once again, let's break it down. As you can see, first, it's full of soil deposits that have stuck to the surface of the coin. These, of course, need to be mechanically removed. I'm not going to get into the extensive details on how to do it in this video, but as you can see, it's not something very straightforward. From making a coin looking like that to that shiny, wonderful, clean coin from before, you can guess there were quite a few steps that had to be followed here. So you need to know what you're doing before cleaning a coin. That's why, for example, I don't make coin cleaning videos, because I don't know how to do it, and I don't want to give you bad advice and be responsible for the destruction of ancient coins. It's not like they're making more of these. So apart from the surface deposits, under these, the silver has developed a layer of mineral patina over it. That's the black part you see at some parts, which you can see poking through the attached soil. Some people like to keep this patina on the coin. Others just like to remove it. I personally enjoy dark patinas, but generally it tends to come out of the ground with a rather thick mineral layer, so it obscures some of the details of the coin that lie underneath. So normally it gets removed chemically with some sort of acid. Once again, it must be done in a controlled way, and I'll show you an example later in this video of a coin which I think was over-cleaned, but we'll get there when we get there. Now, it's also important to keep in mind that cleaning silver coins is much different than cleaning bronze or other base metal coins. Both generally need to have a first level of mechanical cleaning to remove the soil and its mineral deposits on the surface that they might have, but the patina on bronze coins should not be removed. It is part of the coin. The copper from the surface has mineralized. It has transformed itself into that patina that you see. If you want to adventure yourself into cleaning ancient coins, please do not strip the patina from base metal coins. You will ruin it. Silver can be a bit more forgiving, but you can really lose hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of value on a nice bronze coin, something like a Roman sestertius. You lose a lot of value if you mess up a nice patina. So okay, let's go back to that lovely little thing here. As I was saying, this is the example of a well-cleaned coin. It has had its deposits cleaned out, and then it was gently soaked into some sort of acid to remove the thick black patina from the silver, leaving it with its original silvery appearance. This one, it's actually starting to slowly tone again, develop the new patina, probably with the gases in the atmosphere and everything we have today, because it doesn't have that blast white appearance from a recently cleaned silver coin. It's a bit darker at some parts, which makes me think maybe this coin has been sitting in a collection for a couple of decades now. Now here I want to call your attention to the reverse. It's definitely not in such good shape as the obverse, although that is generally to be expected, particularly for these 3rd century coins. The reverse die was the one that moved, that the mint worker held on his hands. So the obverse was attached to the anvil when the coin was struck, and the reverse was the one that moved. So it tended to wear quicker, and it was replaced less often. The reverse was less important than the portrait of the emperor. So generally you find the strike defects more commonly on the reverse. And it's also not rare to find coins with very worn reverse dies, like dies that can barely imprint a proper identifiable image anymore. This one still looks quite okay, but it clearly wasn't on its way out. Now, what I want to call your attention to, since we're talking about cleaning and surfaces, are those little spots of corrosion we see here. I'm going to switch from the video to a static image so we can see it more clearly. I'm highlighting the corroded spots so you can see what I mean. So I said that silver was less reactive than copper, but that doesn't mean it is completely unreactive. That's gold. Silver does react. So here we can see that despite the very good job on the cleaner's part of removing the surface deposits from the coin, some kind of chemical reaction from those deposits must have damaged the surface of the coin at these areas. That's just a thing of ancient coins. Sometimes it will remove a deposit and the metal underneath will be eaten away at some degree. Other times the surfaces will just be pristine. Maybe the coin's reverse was facing outwards when it was deposited, therefore it had more exposure to reactions. We will never know. But well, that's just one of the things with ancient coins. They have been around for millennia. Many of them have come to us with some sort of damage. Of course, this will diminish the coin's value somewhat. A coin with very good metal is always worth, it always has a little bit of a premium. I would dare say that personally, I would rather have a coin with a little bit more wear, but very stable, very uncorroded surfaces, very little chatter, rather than a mint state coin with porosity all over its surfaces. It's visually polluted. It's a little bit unpleasant for me. Okay, now let's look at this other coin. That's another Antoninianus, this time from Emperor Volusian. This one was struck between 251 and 253, so just a few years later if compared to the Philip coin I just showed you. It has a bit less silver in it, maybe like 5% less. However, the appearance of this coin is clearly a bit worse than the other. It's not that the low silver content is starting to affect it visually. It still has more than enough silver for the surface enrichment technique to work, but I think this coin wasn't as well cleaned as the previous one. From the details on the bust, we can see it has nearly as many details as the previous coin, is in a very good grade, but that shine we saw on the previous coin isn't present here. It reflects light in a more diffuse, like a fuzzy way. The work on mechanically cleaning this coin was very well done. There aren't any deposits here, but maybe the acids used on cleaning it were a little bit more aggressive because it actually, I think it damaged the silver-rich surface to a certain extent. It's easier to see what I mean as we look on the reverse. While on the obverse, you could still see at least some of the fine radiating lines of the metal as it displaced outwards when the coin was struck. Here, on this reverse, we just have a flat surface everywhere, like a diffuse, kind of dull surface. It's not that it's a bad coin, not at all. It's still very much collectible. And for example, the legends, as you can see, they're fully readable, Felicitas Publica, even if poor little Felicitas here looks so weakly struck. In this case, not due to actual wear. This coin was just struck with really, really worn reverse dies. But as you can see, the surface of the metal definitely doesn't have the sharpness and the cleanliness of the previous coin. It's also, if you notice the color, it's like blast white. It doesn't have any signs of any patina once again developing on its surface after it's been cleaned. So this coin might have been found or at least cleaned relatively recently, and unfortunately the cleaner this time didn't do such a great job. So yeah, this is something you need to observe when shopping for a coin. How good of a surface does the coin have? Because it really affects the overall eye appeal of even a coin in high grade. Maybe I'm just a little bit pedantic personally with the metal quality of the coin, and your tolerance for porosity might be higher, but as you can see, it really does affect a coin's eye appeal. On the other hand, when we go for the third coin of today, that's a stellar piece, especially considering that by that time, when this coin was made, this coin was struck around 260, 269 AD, the silver content had fallen to around 25% at most. So, I mean, just look at it. The silvering, the surface enriching work done on the mint was really, really good. It looks like pure silver once again. The darker surface color you see on this particular coin, and maybe those few stains it has, these are the result of this new patina forming over the clean surface. This one has definitely been sitting in a collection for a few decades. It's a bit harder to notice on this one, but if we look at the outline of the bust, we can also see that mint luster poking through the patina. Actually, you know what? In the case of such a coin, I want to read your opinion in the comment section. So consider this coin in such good condition. Would you prefer to clean this coin once again, leaving it blessed white, losing that nice, even metallic patina, but also cleaning these small dark spots you can see, like these little stains? Or would you leave the coin exactly as it is? As for the reverse, finally we have some relatively fresh reverse dies. Here we have an image of Hercules. We can see his very strong figure. He's holding his club and the skin of the Nemean lion. And this is actually a rather interesting Hercules. It's the bringer of peace, the Herculi Pacífero. So he's holding an olive branch on one hand, which symbolizes peace. So it's quite a curious depiction of Hercules, like a chill Hercules. Once again, very strong metallic patina on this reverse, but no signs of porosity or any corrosion. It's remarkably good metal. To the right of Hercules, we have this darker, reddish spot, which I suspect is just some remnant of a coppery deposit it once had on its surface. This doesn't look like any copper from the inside of the coin leaching out. It looks too superficial, and if that was the case, there would be a lot more porosity on this coin overall. So it's just a fantastic posthumous. And it's a very affordable type of coin too. That's an usurper that's still very easy to find on the market. And you can make an entire collection just on posthumous and the other Gallic emperors. And alright, there we have it. A quick analysis of a coin surface, the effects good and bad cleaning can have on coins, and some peculiarities of the surfaces of coins. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. Remember to leave your comments and questions in the space down below. Happy collecting, and I'll see you soon. Let me give a special thank you to all of my amazing channel members and Patreons for their generous support. This channel would not be the same without your help. And if you would like to be part of this list, have early access to my videos when they are uploaded to YouTube, and a series of other perks, make sure to check out my Patreon page and my members tab on YouTube. Thank you very much.